People dance at the closing party at Town Danceboutique, which is closing after 11 years of operation just off U Street. Oliver Contreras, for the Washington Post, they came wearing jean cutoffs and crop tops and red bandanas, or boat shoes and pastel polos and backward caps. A few came wearing almost nothing at all, skimpy pairs of briefs, maybe a leather harness. In a line that wrapped halfway around the block, hundreds waited for hours to celebrate one last time at Town Danceboutique, a gay nightclub off U Street NW that has fallen victim to the gentrification it helped spur in the area. 2 years ago, the two-story complex was sold to a developer who plans to build upscale apartments. Since 2007, Town has been the largest entertainment venue in the nation's capital, catering to the LGBTQ community. Those who came this weekend said it was a space, the space, where they felt welcome. "They're just accepting of everybody," said Hunter Young, an architect out to celebrate his 26th birthday. "I've come here dressed as masculine as possible and in drag. I've had eye makeup done up. I've come in all facets and they're like, yes, come on in, you're welcome here. Just be you." Wendy Fox, a 38-year-old sales director, said she most appreciates that Town welcomes every genre of life. Men, women, trans, drag, art, culture, everyone kind of coexists beautifully, she said. "Whether people come every night or once in a blue moon, this place is a staple. It's important." The dance floor at the closing party at Town Danceboutique. Oliver Contreras, for the Washington Post, drag queen Sasha performs this past weekend at Town. Oliver Contreras, for the Washington Post, on Friday, the club's final Bear Happy Hour, a weekly tradition targeting Town's hairier, more rugged male clientele, gave way to a performance by its longtime drag queens, with a sign language interpreter positioned behind them on stage. A performer named Bandanas strutted in a white dress to Miley Cyrus. Later, backstage, she gabbed with Blair Michaels, another one of Town's original drag queens, who had traveled from Buffalo and walked with a cane after recent hip surgery. "To work in a drag show for 10.5 years, that is saying something," Bandanas said. "Drag queens get fired left and right, and clubs don't last that long." The first-time nightclub owner John Guggenmo saw the 18,000-square-foot space in the 2000 block of 8th Street NW. It was abandoned, with persistent dripping water that allowed mosquitoes to breathe in the middle of winter. The building had housed another nightclub, Keely's Cafe, that became a symbol of the neighborhood's seediness. It was shut down after a shooting in 2005, and then D.C. Councilmember Jim Graham, D. Ward 1, had famously stood in front of the building and vowed it would never become a club again. "Even after we opened, I'd come back to U Street on Sunday morning, you'd see 14 piles of glass from cars that had been broken into in the area," Guggenmo said. But together with Nellie's, a gay sports bar that opened the same year up the street, Town started bringing a different crowd, whiter, wealthier, more professional, that was drawn in by the blank canvas the club seemed to offer. Town transformed that area into a really hip spot where people would want to live, said Theo Green, a Bowdoin College professor who is writing a book about gay urban life in the district. "It's now this post-queer area where you see a lot of businesses flourishing that are not specifically gay, but gay-friendly," Green said. Town Danceboutique, the largest club catering to LGBTQ clientele in the district, is closing. Town transformed that area into a really hip spot where people would want to live, said Theo Green, a Bowdoin College professor. Oliver Contreras, for the Washington Post, Guggenmo and his business partners always leased the space. The property passed from one owner to another 4 times before Bristol Capital accepted a $25 million purchase offer from the Jefferson Apartment Group in 2016. "Gentrification is a great word until it happens to you," Guggenmo said. He said he and his business partners have owned a dozen nightclubs in the district over the past 28 years, closing old venues and opening new ones as neighborhoods shifted and changed. but with the district increasingly built out and rents ever more expensive, they so far have not found a location for a club to succeed Town. It's the first time I don't know what's about to happen next. Guggenmoz said. You know how you go to a movie and suddenly it's over. This is it. The lights are about to come up. John Guggenmoz, co-owner of Town Danceboutique. Oliver Contreras, for The Washington Post. People wait in line outside of Town Danceboutique this past weekend. Oliver Contreras, for The Washington Post, on the club's expansive patio Friday night. Patrick Kane, 23, recalled coming to Town's 18-plus nights as a freshman at George Washington University. One weekend, he brought his older sister, who did not yet know he was gay. She ends up loving one of the dancers, this guy named Kieran, and Kieran becomes this code word between us. Kane said. When the siblings returned to town 4 years later, Kane's sister realized the nightclub had been her brother's way of coming out. Other 18-year-olds, Kane said, will no longer have the option. Where can they come to say, "This is my Kieran. This is my moment to tell you what and who I am"? In the backstage area on the first floor, littered with feather boas and sequins, Banaka took her puffy red wig off one final time at Town. What are they turning this into? Condos? 'Cause that's what EC needs, she quipped, dabbing with a cotton pad at the thick coat of foundation on her face. Let's do it, girl. More glass buildings that are ugly. She started to cry. Her makeup stayed on.